Okay, so I know I've been gone for almost 2 years, and I'm sorry about that. But I am back with these reviews, and I especially want to get back to the MCU, so I guess I'm back. The previous two videos are kinda shit, and I want to revise my previous two reviews because they're very old. So I'm just going to combine the two in this video, and I'm just going to move on from here. As I have said before, most of these reviews will have spoilers in them regarding the MCU, but I will let you guys know when it's that time in the video. However, for this video it's kinda hard to do that because I've already talked about these videos before, so I'm not even gonna try to not spoil it because that's kind of impossible in this scenario. And yes, I am still going to be going in release order for the MCU, so don't worry about it. So let's go right back to Iron Man 1. Now, as I have said in my previous review of this movie, this was a pretty decent start to the MCU. It lands in the center of it being a good movie and a bad movie. As you guys may or may not know, I like to get the good things out of the way first, so that the people who love these films can stop watching my video after I start bitching. First of all, Robert Downey Jr. did a great job as Tony Stark, which shouldn't really be that big of a surprise considering the fact that everyone knows he's a pretty good actor. In fact, most of the performances in the Iron Man films are pretty spot on. Most of these characters have good chemistry with each other, and the actors that play them get their chances to shine. This especially applies in the first act of the film. I have stated previously that the first act of this movie is pretty fun. The captivity that Tony goes through is something that is entertaining with his personality, and lets us see how he reacts when he's in a dire situation. The first act takes its time moving through Tony's escape, creating an impact on him so that he could evolve as a character. There are way too many movies or TV shows that the main character gets changed almost completely after their first conflict. And some characters may never evolve, no matter how much they go through. In order to make a hero's journey impactful on the story, you need to evolve the character without changing the overall personality of that character. Having a big event happen like Tony's capture is a good one because the situation is full of anxiety and desperation. And even though the overall result does have him escape, he loses a friend that believes in him, giving him the proper motivation to take action and protect the people from feeling the same loss that he suffered. As a result, he now returns to the US with a new outlook on life, and he knows that he can be something better than what he was. Another thing I talked about was the romance of Tony and Pepper. I stated very briefly that I was very happy about them not rushing their relationship, and that was because I was more interested in Tony growing as a person and becoming a hero. However, I am now going to have to talk about why this movie is only decent. The third act flushes its great progress down the drain by revealing the real villain of this movie, Ironmonger. As I have said before, Stain being the main villain was very abrupt and completely unnecessary. To this day, I still believe that they should have waited until the next movie to make him the villain. This way we would have had more time to flesh out his character, and we also would have had time to make him have a compelling motive, because his reasoning in this movie is faulty. That would have had a way bigger impact, and it would have actually given us an actual good Iron Man 2. Waiting would have made him a good villain because his motives would have stemmed from the very beginning, and the betrayal by the character would have had a bigger impact because by then, we would have spent a good amount of time with this character and become attached and emotionally invested. You guys might call me an asshole for shaming the very first MCU movie, but almost every single Marvel movie is like this, so it's kinda hard to ignore. Be pissed at me all you want, but this movie just did not land the way it was intended. So 6 out of 10, we're done here.
Kill power.
So now we move on to Incredible Hulk. And unlike Iron Man, I actually fucking hate this movie. This movie fails for many reasons, and most of them are in this movie the entire time. However, like I said, the good things first. Firstly, the soundtrack is really good. As far as the soundtracks go, I think this one has the most soul. A lot of the scenes have really good music, even in the action.
Do not lose him!
Okay, good. So the music is good. Okay, cool. What else did I like? I like the ending scene with Tony. I like some of the shots, I guess. And, well, that's kind of it. There's really not a lot to like about this movie. And because of that, I'm gonna have to go into the stuff that I don't like. The first bad thing about this movie is the acting. It's just really not that good. The only person I can really give props to is Tim Roth because he's like one of the only people in this movie that's actually giving a shit. However, Edward Norton is just so unbelievably boring. I mean, I really wanted to turn this movie off. I mean, I guess I should have expected that. I think his only good movie was Birdman, and then he just kind of never became entertaining again. So I guess I'm not really bothered by it too much. But that's also because there's a worse person than him, and that's Liv Tyler. I don't know why this happens throughout the entire movie, but all of the lines that she says are just whispered.
Bruce, I don't understand why we can't just go in there together and talk to him. Bruce, I thought you might wanna.
And they choose her out of all people to play this role. Liv Tyler is the most mediocre person to play a forced love interest. Yes, you heard that right. Forced love interest. I've explained why I hate this. The entire relationship has no value for the audience. Does it happen for the story? Yes. But do we care about it?
Oh, no. No. No.
And the reason why is because the story forgets to tell us why characters fall in love. This, just like the Eternals, the story never establishes why the relationship is important to our main characters. And it never shows us how much it is valued in the current context of the story's narrative. If the characters have that fear of losing their loved ones in a conflict, you also need to make the audience feel the same way. But you can't do that if you can't give us anything to go off of. You need to make the audience feel the same emotions that the characters feel, and this movie just kinda failed at that. There were many scenes that I made fun of last time, like when Blonsky was injured by the Hulk and healed in just a couple hours. Even that never happened for Steve, but I've also been watching The Flash, and he could do that, so I guess I'll just go fuck myself. And it's at this part of the video where I criticize the post-production of this movie, because I don't think I'm going to be offending anyone by saying that the effects are dog shit. The effects are way off. And when an action scene happens that involves Hulk, you just kinda get overwhelmed because you can't really tell what the fuck is happening half the time. And if you think those scenes were bad, the final battle is just incomprehensible. Also, some of the editing is really weird. Some of the cuts will switch to our characters doing something entirely different than the previous shot. I mean, look at this scene. What the fuck? Wouldn't you stand up? I don't care if I am being mean, because all of these issues can be easily fixed. The only reason as to why they aren't is because these movies all feel the same, because they all follow the same structure. They always have to make these movies in a way that just feels a little too samey. So I'm going to give The Incredible Hulk a big whopping 2 out of 10. I still hate it. I hate it a lot.